All right, we're live for another Keeping It Real. And today we have a great guest named Eric Robb from the Atlantic area. And the topic today is how Robb sold 45 homes in his first year. So Robb's been in the business for a little bit. We'll get into that. He was with a mega team and then just went out on his own. And within the first year of him going out on his own, he's done 45 transactions, which is amazing. So we're going to dive into that. So first, we're going to go over a few things, some housekeeping items. My co-host, let me back up. For those of you that don't know who I am, I'm Jeff Manson, founder of Real Geeks and also a Hawaii real estate broker and California real estate broker. And my co-host is Frank Klesitz, and he's the CEO of Vyral Marketing. And Frank, can you let them know how they can actually get notified of future and past events?
Sure. Thanks, Jeff. We're excited to do these.
Yeah.
Go to keepingitreal.com. You can see all the past episodes for the years we've been doing these. They're fantastic. We're also on the Real Geeks channel, and at keepingitreal.com, you can go ahead and put your email address in. And you won't get emails for anything else. The only emails you'll get is when we announce new shows for the announcement as well as the replay. And for those of you that like, we're on iTunes. You go to iTunes and check out Keeping It Real on iTunes. Just go ahead and search for that or search for Real Geeks. And as well, up on the Real Geeks Facebook page, you can access them there.
Yeah, so you can follow us on the Facebook page and also the Real Geeks YouTube channel as well. So you can subscribe to that. Did you tell them that, or?
I did.
Oh, okay. All right. Sorry about that. So yeah, so I'm really excited to have Eric on the show. Like I said, he's done 45 transactions his first 12 months from going on his own, from being on a mega team, and that's right around 14 million in production. Hey, Eric, thanks for coming on.
Thanks a lot for having me, guys. I'm super excited to be here, and it's just an honor to come and have a conversation and share, what's been going on the last year and kind of how we made the jump. So thanks a lot for having me. And
I'm excited.
You can call me Rob. That's okay. You're going to do it more times through the interview. So
I can call you Eric or Rob.
Rob, Eric, Rob, either one.
Okay. All right. Hey, so Eric, now you got me all messed up. So Eric, how did you actually get into real estate? And then how long have you been in real estate? How did you get into it? You joined the team. Can you go through that? And then what made you decide to go out on your own?
Sure. I've been in real estate coming up on 5 years. Actually, my license getting ready to renew this July. So my birthday's coming up. And I've always had an interest in real estate. I actually got my mortgage broker license. I used to live in Florida during the real estate boom back there in 04, 05, 06. And, I saw my friends were kind of buying homes and flipping homes and just always had an interest in real estate. So, fast forward, this is actually my second career. I was a chef. I went to culinary school. It was hospitality, restaurant management. Did that for 20 years and, just needed a change. And I opened up a fast food restaurant here in Atlanta with a great operator. And, I think those hospitality skills have helped me kind of transition into real estate. It's definitely a lot of customer service and customer satisfaction. And I like that. I love helping people. So it's kind of a natural transition, being an entrepreneur and just wanting to have flexibility. And, my dad was in the real estate business. So actually a lady that used to volunteer for me, one of the food service operations, she was a top producer with Remax. Mm-hmm. And that was my actual first official jump, was to kind of come and work with her. And she helped me a lot. I learned the business real quick with her. But I realized, long term that wasn't going to work out. And that's when I did join a big mega team, the largest team in the Southeast or in the country at the time with Keller Williams. So, that was just a great experience.
So what did you learn from being on a mega team?
Eric, turn your speakers down a bit, buddy. We're getting some
loud.
Yeah, just turn them down a bit.
Okay.
Yeah, better.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I'm not hearing myself talk. So you then joined a mega team, and then what did you learn from being on the mega team that you think helped you, catapult and do 45, breaking out on your own?
You know what? Now being on my own for a year, I've always said, because I started as a buyer agent on this team, And it gave me the opportunity to just dive into all kinds of training opportunities, whether it was, CEs about just working with buyers, working with sellers, working with lenders, contracts. There's so many things that you have to learn in this business. And I think being on a team gave me that opportunity to do that while still, getting leads, because when you're on a mega team, they provide marketing, they provide, contract to close, they provide leads. So the biggest thing that you have to learn and that they train is really mindset, and conversion, and converting the leads. So, I learned that to a high level, so it was really a great experience.
All right. And then they helped you build your mindset and your work ethic and all that. I guess work ethic's kind of built in, but teach you how to follow a schedule and all that. And I'm sure skills too, following up on the leads as well, right?
Sure. And there's a high level of accountability, and, going through Keller Williams and, reading The One Thing and studying Gary Keller and just kind of developing your big why. And I think that foundation of, because this is a tough business, there's lots of ups and downs. I think it's really important, and that people kind of find that what drives them. Everybody wants to make six figures and everybody wants to have the flexibility, but, deep down, I really had to find, besides my family and, God, it's like, I'm really a competitive person. I loved the competitiveness of a team. So I kind of thrived in that environment.
All right. And then go ahead.
Well, you leave the team. I want to get right into you leave that team and you go off on your own. What do you do? How do you start to sell so many homes so quickly?
Yeah, sure. Before I left the team, I actually worked my way up to be the director over the buyer team. So I was only a buyer agent for about 2 years. The other 2 years was, helping other newer buyer agents develop skills and hold them accountable. So that also was a great incentive for being on a team. But jumping into being an individual agent, it got to the point where I no longer I loved helping other agents and newer agents, but I felt there was more, and I felt I could take, the business to the next level, my business. And without going into too much detail about the team, it was just time, it was time to kind of go on my own. So I did have to learn the skills that we talked about before that the team doesn't really teach you, because they don't necessarily want you to know how to market and, build your database and build your sphere of influence. And, I take that back. They want you to build your sphere of influence and database and bring those deals on the team, which is great because they're providing a lot of leads, but they don't teach you how to market, email your database, and what you need to do to prospect and certain things like that I had to learn. And I learned a lot of that, to be honest, from the Keeping It Reals. I'm doing a lot of research on other, top producers, masterminding with other agents, and just doing a ton of research. And got a yellow pad right here that's just filled with, Tom Ferry's notes and Brian Buffini's notes and Jeff Manson's, notes, and people that have come before me and have been on these segments that, just learned a ton from.
We're going to dive in a little bit deeper. So I think you need to turn that. Someone needs to turn something down.
Eric, what I want you to do is turn your speakers down all the way and bring it up just loud enough since you're not in a headset, just to barely hear us.
All right. Can you hear me, Eric?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. All right. Good. I can't hear myself. All right. So
is that better, Frank?
Yep, you're good.
Okay. So you're you jump in and you're on track and you're going to do 45 deals. And you do 45 deals in your first 12 months. How soon did you hire an agent? I mean, not an agent, an assistant, because it's just you and an assistant, I think.
It's just myself and an assistant. I started getting a lot of calls from friends, after being in the business for a few years, and you don't want to be a secret agent, making myself known. It was a great jump to, go on my own. And I had a lot of, sphere and personal contacts, and they all seemed to kind of want to buy or sell at the same time. So it was a natural it was a natural jump. So I hired my first assistant within 6 months after I started in June of 2017. So by, I think it was January, February.
Okay. And did you hire a licensed assistant or somebody just to handle like the day-to-day stuff?
Nope, she's not licensed. She has just a great attitude, great interest in real estate, handles all the contract to close. So, in the beginning, it's a lot more work for an individual agent to kind of bring on an assistant and train them. But once, now it's like I look back and I don't know how I would be able to do it without her. Her name's Laura Case, and she's awesome. Give her some props.
All right, great. And I assume that once you said it took a little bit longer to train her, but once you've trained her, she knows exactly how you would write things up or respond and all that. So she's taken a lot of stuff off your plate. Let's go into the actual deals. So you got buyers and sellers. What percentage are buyers and what percentage are sellers?
So we're doing 70% for our 2017. It was 70% buyers, 30% sellers.
Okay. And then what different lead sources or sources are you getting that business from? Why don't we go into the buyers right now and sellers? I mean, you're probably getting a little bit of both from all your lead sources.
Yeah.
What is your number one lead source? I mean, or number one business where you generate the most business from?
Right. 56, I'll just say 60% of our deals year to date, from, a year ago, is 56% is sphere of influence, personal contacts. 14% were referral deals from other agents, or, with Berkshire Hathaway now we have a relo. So we've got a couple relocation deals.
Right. And then I assume the rest would be internet, website and portal leads type stuff.
Exactly.
Okay. So let's dive into the biggest one, the center of influence past clients. Can you walk us through how you market them? Because you said that the big team, mega team, didn't really teach you how to market them and how to work them. Can you share with us what you're doing to generate all that business from your center of influence and past clients?
Sure. We're continuing, constantly working on the database. So in the beginning, it was just taking LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and it was taking our email database. And this is where an assistant really came in handy, because trying to maintain your business and working on your database, you have to do it like a half hour, 45 minutes a day. You have to time block it, and it's still a constant work in progress. It's almost like a living, breathing entity that you have to continue, and Frank can probably teach me some things on this, but and that's one thing that a coach has taught me, and is hampered down on, is really teaching me structure and systems with the database. So in the beginning, it was kind of scattered, all over, but now it's, we know we have 370 or 400 personal contacts, sphere of influence, that we have their name, we have their email, we have their phone number. We send out 2 emails a month, and one of those is usually a video-based email providing some type of valued content. We mail them a postcard, or a really nice postcard. We've developed, kind of an image and a brand, and my coach had me put a sport coat on, because before it looked like I was the Chick-fil-A manager with my little name badge. So we've kind of got that dialed in.
How often on the postcard, Eric?
We're doing once a month right now.
Okay.
So you're doing emails, doing an email once a month, twice a month, 2 emails a month, and then 1 postcard a month. And then
we're calling. So we take our database, divide that by 16. I'm making between 24, 25 calls a week.
Nice.
To the database. So that will allow me to hit them 3 times a year. That was one of the most difficult things for me, because some of these people I haven't talked to in, a year or 2 years, but you just have to kind of get over the awkwardness of it when you look at the return that's going to come from it,
What do you say? What do you say when you go off on your own? You haven't called these people in a while, and there's all your personal friends that you're on your own.
The ones I haven't talked to in a while, I just call them and I'll say, "Hey, Frank, I know it's been a long time," and I'll kind of social stalk them a little bit to see what's been going on. And I'll just say, "How are you? How have you been? just want to let you know that, you know, I jumped ship and I'm at Berkshire Hathaway right now. And if you ever need anything, you know, real estate related, or if you know anybody looking to buy or sell, be happy to help them out. But in the beginning, it's just kind of a short, how are you and the family? I might not even go into the real estate, and I'll just let them talk. And usually they'll ask about it because they've seen me on Facebook or something like that.
All right, so
another important thing that is, you know, that I learned from Jeff is getting everybody in Real Geeks, the whole database. We're continually working on, you know, getting the database in there because, like I said, it is a work in progress. But uploading a CSV file is awesome, the way that does that, and then just adding the missing information. And then as far as the sold searches that you can do on Real Geeks, got to hammer that home that those monthly market reports are great. So on top of the other things that we're doing, you know, the more you can stay in front of your sphere of influence, because I hear so many stories, especially even family and relatives that go off and buy, you know, from somebody else because you're not top of mind. So,
so let me ask you, Eric, are you using the script when you're calling the database and putting them on the sold search so they get the sold search in the monthly market report? You know, the sold.
I do use a version of the script, basically calling you today because I have a lot of friends and relatives like you asking me to keep them updated on their real estate investment, letting them know that the website can do that. We have a great monthly market report that will, you know, send you the sold active listings in your neighborhood. Is that something that you'd like me to do for you as well, basically?
So you're basically using almost the script I've got verbatim in the system. And do you find that the majority of them, if they own a home, want that service?
Absolutely.
Okay.
You know, I'm a high S on the disc profile without going into too much detail, but I think most people don't like to say no. You know, if you know them a little bit, it's easy.
Sure.
You know, when you're calling expireds and FSBOs and cold leads, they'll hang up on you in a minute. But these people that you know, I found that it's a little harder for them to say no.
Okay, so it sounds like the main things you're doing for your center of influence to get all this business, and that's, I think, almost 60% of your business. 60% of those 45 deals is from your center of influence. You're sending them 2 emails a month. Monthly, like newsletter type or announcement type emails. One of them being video, correct?
Correct.
And then you're sending a monthly postcard,
Correct.
branded postcard. So you're showing up in their mail too, so they can see your smiling face and your sports coat. And and then you're calling them. Would you say a total of 3 times a year?
Yep.
So you're actually calling them 3 times a year, and then you're also setting them up in the Real Geeks website on a sold search and a market report search. So then they're also then getting dripped on, and you're actually keeping them up to date on what's going on in their neighborhood as far as real estate through your branded Real Geeks website.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. Is there anything else that you're doing that's besides that, or is that basically it?
Well,
I don't want to say basically because
we're working on
really well.
something called advocates. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Yep.
Sorry, I was talking over you.
Okay. So 10% of the sphere of influence database should be advocates, which are, you know, your top past clients that have referred you other business. You've done multiple deals with these people. It could be a mortgage lender, somebody that sends you. So the 10%, you know, these are people that you do pop buys, you take them out to lunch. So that's another thing that we're also beginning to work on top of the other things. That's another thing that we're doing.
Okay. All right, great. So then the next thing, we'll just move into portal leads and internet leads. They're kind of the same, whether you generate them from your website or from the portals. How are those coming in, and how are you working those?
So in the beginning, we were doing pay-per-click with Real Geeks. The leads were, you know, they were flowing in. It took a little bit to get it going, and I know it's, you know, the ramp up there is kind of 6 to 8 months. I just felt with the sphere of influence business that I had and bringing on an assistant, it was a little too much for me, to be honest with you, the amount of leads coming in. And I didn't have, now we have Ava, which is kind of a texting service to hit the lead in 5 minutes, which is great. But I've now transferred, you know, the dollars that I was spending on pay-per-click to Zillow and Realtor.com. So 10 of our deals last year, you know, year to date have come from Zillow and Realtor.com. So,
okay.
You know,
Right,
with those, it's definitely speed to lead.
Uh-huh.
And, you know, we use a script, LP Mama, that some people have talked about on here, but it's basically, you know, asking them location, price, motivation, if they're working with an agent, you know, mortgage, have they been pre-approved? So kind of running through that script and asking open-ended questions and getting them on searches. And everybody that I talk to goes on a search.
On a Real Geeks search, in the Real Geeks site?
Absolutely.
So wean them off of Zillow or Truly or Realtor.com, correct? Okay.
Sending them a follow-up email with the saved search and just thanking them. If I can get their address, you know, a handwritten note.
Okay.
So that's been working well.
So that's working well. And how many of them are you actually converting when you're actually talking to them the first time, percentage-wise?
On internet leads?
No, on the portal leads.
I think our conversions portal, like coming in through the internet, pay-per-click, and
No, I'm talking about when I say portal, I'm talking Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com, because you said you're spending your money on that. You're no longer doing the PPC because you're getting too many leads, and so you went to the portals or Zillow or
right.
We're
at about 5%, about a 5% conversion from, you know, the leads coming in to close deals. So
of the Zillow ones.
Right.
Okay. All right. And then you're continue to follow up with them. And how are you following up with them? You know, if you're not converting them right away? I know that you said you're putting them in the Real Geeks website and they're getting properties. Are you following up on them on a certain, like a time frame cadence? Or are you doing that based on their user behavior and their activity within the Real Geeks website?
A little bit of both. I've kind of switched gears. I was, you know, leaving follow-up, leaving notes, leaving activity, you know, starting my day. I think a key to this business is consistency, routine. I'm an office person. I know a lot of people like to work from home. I need to get up in the morning. I need to do some motivation. I need to get up, get to the office. I start prospecting by 8:30, and I've been prospecting 2 to 3 hours a day. I try to make 25 contacts a day or 100 a week, 25 a day by noon. And then schedule any appointment, you know, in the afternoon, 1:30, 3:30, or 6:30. A lot of times people are working, so you've got to have night appointments. So,
all right. So when I like how you did that. You transitioned into your schedule, because that was one thing I was going to ask you. Do you have a routine or schedule? So you're determined to make 2 to 3 hours prospecting a day, and that number one would be what your center of influence, calling them. And then any hot portal, Zillow, I'll just say Zillow type leads, Realtor.com leads. And then what else are you prospecting? Are you doing any cold list calls, any expired FSBOs?
Yes, I think I jumped about the leads that you had asked me before. We're tagging them. So any lead that I feel is a 0 to 30 day is a hot lead. Any lead 45 to 180 would be just a lead. So we're using the tags in Real Geeks, and then anything like 180 days and out would be a suspect. So, you know, Mondays and Thursdays, I call all the hot leads twice a week. So I'm constantly following up with them. Whereas before I was just going to the activity and kind of seeing, you know, who was active on the website. And I just found that there's a lot of looky-loos, and they might not necessarily be a hot lead after you see they've been, you know, looking at 438 properties on the website for 6 months. It's like, okay, you know, so we're trying to be consistent and develop those types of systems for follow-up.
And are you calling any expireds or FSBOs?
I started in the beginning doing that, and then I put it on hold, but now we've just, the last couple of weeks, I've been back into FSBOs and expireds using a dialer. So I'll start with sphere of influence. Then I'll do the hot leads, and then I'll get on the dialer for probably 45 minutes or so, and do expireds and FSBOs.
All right, how's that going? You said you just started doing that again. How is that going?
I've gotten a couple appointments out of it. It's going well. We're also, with the assistant, one great benefit, she's been doing mailers with expireds and FSBOs as well. So that takes a lot of that off my plate. And we're also farming. We're doing about 1,000 farm postcards once a month to geographic areas, geo-farming, within our area to try to build that business as well.
Do you have an example for us?
What's that?
You have an example postcard in there for us?
Yeah.
Sure. I'm putting notes in the chat, Jeff, for everyone.
Okay, great. You're a little blurry, pixely.
Hope you guys like them.
Can you see?
Yeah, okay. Okay, just listed, under contract in 48 hours. It's got the house. Looks great.
Beck, what's the cost to mail 1,000 out?
Oh, hold on, Frank. You're talking, so no one saw the back.
Oh, sorry.
Eric, can you show the back? Talk while you're showing that.
He's displayed. I have him featured.
Yeah, sure. This is a jumbo postcard. I don't think this is we use Every Door Direct for the farm.
Okay.
The postcards are the same size, but the stamp is a little bit different. But this is the same postcard that goes out. If I need to split it up and send some to my sphere and some to my farm, we'll do that. But it's costing about 70 cents or so a piece. Mailed, which is
all right. Sounds good. All right. So, and then I want to get back to the expireds. I know we're in a pretty good market in most markets, but the market is going to shift eventually. And I think expireds and FSBO is going to be a great source. So you're calling the expireds and FSBOs, and then your assistant is sending out mail to them?
She is. We developed kind of a little letter, a mailer, and it talks about how we can improve the marketing of the property and, do a walkthrough video on their property, and then a little handwritten note in the packet. And that's only for homes that are kind of in our zip code, in our farm. The expired and FSBOs, as far as calling, I'm going out about 10 mile radius.
All right. And then how frequently are you following up with them?
So like I said, I'm just getting back into it. I've got a big bucket of leads, and I'm using RedX and Mojo, and then Cole Resources. Cool about RedX is that, if you pull it, it kind of pulls out the ones that go back on the market. So I'm calling the new expireds every day, and then I'm doing some of the old expireds when I have extra time.
All right. And then you're calling for sell by owners as well?
Yep. I'm pulling that information usually off of Zillow. Going in and make me move, or for sale by owners, and we're doing calling and mailing those as well.
Yeah, you know what really works well too with the FSBOs? You could do this with expireds too. I think Jeff Quinton and his team, they put the expireds on the Real Geeks website, and then say, hey, would you like to, us to keep you updated on the market? They get their email and all that, and they put them on a sold search or an active search, and they get the market report. So that way, when they're following up, they're dripping on them. Same thing with FSBOs. I've got some guys that are just saying, hey, I've got a lot of people just like you that are trying to sell their homes themselves. I can go ahead and keep you updated on the market, what's going on in the market. So that way you can see what's going on, what's coming on the market, what's going under contract, what's selling. And so they're putting them on just a property search on the FSBOs, and then they've got their own, and then they're saving a search for every one of the FSBOs in their own. So that way, every day they get the one email, and it says FSBO 123 Main Street, and they've got a link, and it's got or the name of the person, but they know what they're getting, and it gives them a reason to call and say, hey, did you see that market or that one come on the market, or did you see that one just sold on 123 ABC Street or whatever? So it'll give you something to talk about the FSBOs, and you look like the area expert, Johnny on the spot. And I think the guys that I'm talking to are listing a lot more FSBOs because they are actually dripping on them, and they're keeping that market, and they're calling them when that stuff's happening.
Yeah, that's good to know.
Anyway, that might help you get more FSBOs. Dominate the FSBOs.
Appreciate the tips.
I love it. All right, so we kind of went over all that. What other systems or processes do you have in place that we haven't talked about that other, the audience might? We have about 10 minutes left.
So we mentioned Ava, which is, there's other services out there. This is basically a texting service that texts leads right when they come in and does, continual follow-up through text and email if they don't get a hold of the lead. that's helped us kind of streamline our follow-up and who's interested when I can't get to the phone.
Sure.
Because part of this going out on my own was, you know, I have a 12-year-old and a 10-year-old and a beautiful wife, and part of me wanting to do this is to have a little bit of flexibility. I mean, you can work yourself to death in this business, and I've seen a lot of agents, you know, I work hard and I put in a lot of hours, but I also want to have kind of a balance of life. So, you know, learning how to kind of leverage the business is something that I'm continuing to try to do. We have a blogger, somebody that we met through your recommendation on your website. She blogs for us on the website. So I think it's one blog a week, and then she posts, you know, on social twice a week. So I think that helps, you know, the whole social media, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google Plus. We're starting to get more into videos, posting, you know, at least one value added video, and just getting involved. I think video is something that's just quick. It's easy. I mean, I read the other day that you should be posting 6 to 7 times a day on social media. And I was like, where are you going to find the time to do that? You know, unless you can hire a full-time marketing person. But I think that might be the goal, but you know, we're trying to do better with social and keep that consistent.
Now, I know you mentioned a coach. Are you in a coaching program? Do you have a full-time coach?
I do have a full-time coach. It's a half-hour call every week. It's been invaluable, you know, between that and hiring an assistant. I think those are the two key decisions that I've made in my business that have helped me leverage my time so that I can focus on, you know, the income generating activities. And, you know, one wise person told me, don't ever let, you know, dealing with business take precedence over finding new business. So I try to keep that, you know, in the back of my mind and focus on income. So
the coach keeps you focused, you know, in the income producing business versus on the other business, and then also working probably on building and creating more business.
Exactly. I mean, he's hold you accountable. He's big on, you know, the whole sphere of influence, database, building the database, just developing systems and tools and the structure. You know, we talked about when to call and when to go on appointments, and, you know, I need that. I need the accountability. I need the discipline. You know, this can be a lonely business, so it's good to have kind of a coach and people to help you navigate through it
and bounce through it. So what are your next? Where do you want to go next with this? I mean, you did within your first 12 months, you did 45 deals. So where do you want to go? I mean, some people want to go and blow it up and build team. Some people just say, hey, I want to be me and my assistant, maybe one other person, and do 100 or 75 or whatever. So how are you envisioning this over the next year or two?
So my situation might be a little bit different. I do want to grow it organically, but I have another year where I really can't do anything more than be an individual agent and have an assistant. So our goal for 2018 is 60 deals, 18 million, kind of continuing on the path that we're on. I do, you know, I'll refer some deals out to some agents in the office if I can't get to it, or if it's too far or whatever. But yeah, eventually I'd like to bring on a couple buyer agents and kind of continue to grow this. As long as I can maintain the balance and continue leveraging, you know, my time, then we'll just get as big as we can.
All right, nice. All right. And do you have one thing that you've been thinking about or obsessing about that you want to implement that you think will bring on some more business or more consistency that you haven't implemented yet?
I don't know if there's anything that I haven't implemented yet. You know, I would say the one thing that opened my eyes is really the center of influence and the database and the return that you get on your investment. So you and I were talking briefly about this.
Before we came on.
60% of my business is coming, you know, from center of influence, but I'm not spending the majority of my time on that. I'm spending more time on, you know, kind of chasing internet leads and doing a lot of follow-up with that. So I think that's one eye-opener that I've had the last few weeks, is to really continue the calls to the database, continue to grow that. I think in the long term, that's really, you know, needs to be the focus of my business, and it's going to give me the greatest return. And those people are, you know, more fun to work with.
Right. So
that.
so if I'm hearing you right, so you need to triple down on working the database and spend more time doing that, because you're spending most of your time on the other lead sources, and they're not giving you a bigger return. So let's shift more of that energy to growing that database and working it, so that way you can do even more.
We got some questions.
Yeah, let's do some questions. We got about 5 to 8 minutes left before we go out of here.
Yeah. Eric, congratulations. Let me say that. Congratulations on your deals in your first year. You got a solid business. I think what a lot of people can relate to is you hired an assistant 6 months in. And that was your first major investment, I think, after leading a team. Will you talk about how the money and how much in savings and the revenue you're doing? Like, how did you focus on the money investment to put someone's professional life in your hands? I think a lot of people can relate to how you made that decision to hire an assistant.
It was something that is definitely a big decision. It's something that we had to pray about. We talked to the family about, talked to other agents about. And, the one thing that did it for me was just somebody telling me, like, hey, there's definitely a monetary cost to this, but what are you going to get back in your personal life when you can free up the time? And it's hard to see through, all the benefits that an assistant's going to bring to you and everything that's going to come off your plate. So it's hard to quantify that in a dollar cost, amount. But as far as just the freedom that it brings and being able to delegate and, like we talked about, leverage your business is just, it's huge. It is like jumping off, a bridge a little bit, but it's kind of an educated risk, I would say. So
did you decide to pay them hourly, or did you do a percentage, or are they treated as an employee, or how did you work it?
They're an employee, an hourly employee. It's actually only 20 hours a week. I should mention that. So this person, it was perfect for Laura. We already mentioned her name. So she has 2 young kids. She was working full time, doing a lot of marketing, and she wanted to kind of back down. So it was really a perfect fit. And I don't think it would have been as easy for me if I didn't, feel like it was the right person. So through friends and other relationships, this person kind of came to us, which was great.
Awesome. So what other questions we have there, Frank?
People like to know what coaching program you're in. That's fine.
Yeah.
Eric Jordan, got to give him props. He's out of California. He coaches. I believe he was a Mike Ferry coach, and he's been on his own for a long time. People can instant message me for his info if they want.
Cool. We got the autoresponder. What are you using for your video marketing right now?
Berkshire Hathaway Home Services has, on the back end, they have a lot of marketing resources for us. I'm not using anything special for the video marketing. They've got a video email, kind of tool built in. We're just going to some cool spots on location and just doing seller tips, buyer tips. Like to get into more kind of local interviews and that type of stuff, and just start putting that out through social media and email. So it's nothing really, really special right now.
How'd you find your real estate blogger?
Her name's Jen Miller. A lot of Real Geeks customers use her. She's great. You can find her info on the website.
Cool.
All right. I think that's about it, huh, Frank?
Yeah, we're done. That's good.
All right. Yeah, Frank has to peel off to another meeting, so we're kind of like cramming this one quickly, but I think we got a lot of great information. And I want to really thank Eric for coming on and sharing and being part of the Real Geeks Ohana and just giving back. And we really appreciate it, Eric.
Thank you so much. Couldn't have had all the success without Real Geeks and all the valuable content that you guys put out. Love the Keeping It Real segments, and thanks to Frank as well.
Cool.
All right. Thanks a lot, guys. We'll see you next time.
Later.
Bye now.
See ya.